Hello, hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm David Young here with Dusty Jolly. Welcome to our training today. How to build and scale drone mapping, modeling, inspection business. We've got some great guests with us today, and I'm not just talking about Dusty. We've got Michael Lilly coming on, and Brian Coster is going to be with us. I think here coming up in a minute. We just messaged him, but he should be on here. So I see everybody chiming in the comments. We did one of these trainings on Tuesday, and it went really well. We had like 300 and something people on here, so it was great. Looking forward to seeing everyone else on. I've already seen a couple additional names or names in the comments from people that I saw on here the other day. So thank you for tuning in once again. But we wanted to do these series of 2 trainings because we have a lot of really knowledgeable, smart, and kind people in our Drone Launch Connect community. It's like our private membership and education community for drone pilots. And so we asked them to come share a little bit about their businesses and some advice that they have for anyone else looking to build a business in these spaces. So the one we did on Tuesday was focused on more like real estate, photography, cinematography. So we had Kevin Olson and Gary. I never remember Gary's last name. Was
Scott.
Gary Scott. Very easy last name. I don't know why I forgot that. Gary Scott, both very successful guys in the real estate and sort of photography and cinematography space. And then today we have 2 gentlemen from the mapping real estate, or no, sorry, like mapping inspections, modeling space, some construction stuff. So excited to bring them on. All right. The way this is going to go is first we'll have Michael Lilly come up and he can share with you some kind of key tips, 3 tips maybe. We can expand. This is a pretty loose schedule here.
Can we just real quick talk about how we met Michael?
Oh yeah. Well, let me bring him on and then we can talk.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
But just in general flow, we'll bring Michael on. We'll talk to him for a while. We'll give some tips. Then I think Brian's going to be joining it. He's coming. Okay. Then Brian Coster's doing some pretty cool stuff, working with lawyers doing mapping. So I wanted to talk about that, kind of tell you what he's doing. And then you'll have Q&A. You can ask these 2 guys anything you want. You can ask me or Dusty anything you want. We're also going to tell you about our Drone Launch Connect community, which both of these guys are in. Give you a chance. We're going to be closing that community tomorrow night for the whole quarter. We're going to do an onboarding group. So everybody that's joining right now will be in our onboarding group for Q3. So starting in July, we're going to have some things to get you initiated into the group, some buddy systems, some assignments, things to help you take advantage of it. So we'll give some details on that later, but let's get Mike on here. So here's everybody give a warm welcome to Mr. Wet Dog Drone, the ultimate beard, Michael Lilly. Thanks for coming, man.
Hey, the beard is how we got together.
That is true.
Why don't we talk about
why don't we talk about the first time that me and Dusty ever met you, which was about a little over a year ago, right?
Yeah, you sent out the response for the emails, and that was May 3rd because I was driving to Kansas that day.
Okay.
And you sent the email on May 3rd, so it was probably middle of April you sent out that email, end of April. And it was an invite to dinner in Denver with you and what was it, 11 other people, including, or 10 other people, including you and Dusty.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to do it because, what do I have to add? I mean, I fly drones. I mean, that's what I do. It's like, I'm not even going to bother. So I think the more I think about it, I was working on my wife's car that day, and I just sat down in the front seat, and I said, here's the reason you want me at that dinner. This beard. It's right here. You want to be seen with this beard. So, like that 2 minutes, I talked about the beard, and maybe of that 2 minutes, 30 seconds of it was about drones. And like I said, I was driving to Kansas, and for other reasons, I did fly my drone that day. I just did a 3D model of that from that footage, which was awesome. I got a new nickname today, Michael Tangelo, because I will go off on a tangent.
Oh.
Anyway, no, I saw the email come through on the watch, and I looked at the watch. I said, "Here, read this," and I handed it to my wife, and she said, "I guess you're going to dinner." I'm like, sweet, okay. So that night I show up and I step up behind you and Dusty standing there at the hostess stand. And I said, "I'm here,"
Yeah. And that was
and
the first time.
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we had dinner that night. It was fun. Me and Dusty sat there with 8 basically total strangers. I guess Al Spina was there, and I had met
yeah,
Al before, and I see you in here.
yeah. He's
Uh,
in the chat.
yeah, on the chat. But I had just known Al just from Zoom and stuff. I had never met him in person because he had taken some of our courses and some live stuff. So
Let me get rid of
or
this.
virtually live. Anyways, so we met Mike, kept in touch. Heard he would tell us about cool stuff you were doing with mapping and working with construction businesses, and so then we ended up keeping in touch. You came and then we ended up doing a workshop together. So you made a
Yeah,
workshop for the Drone Launch Connect community, teaching everybody in there how to do progression shots with your drone for construction clients, sharing everything you know there. And you're one of like the main uh, contributors that helps people out in Drone Launch Connect. So you're an
well, I
awesome guy to
appreciate that. I mean, I just answer people's questions. I mean, that's, if somebody's got a question and I can answer it, I'm always willing to. I don't know, giving back. And one of the things that I say is that, we're all on the same road. Some of us are further down the road than others, and some of us are way behind others, but we're all on the same road trying to get to the same place. So if I've already experienced what you're asking a question about, of course I'm going to share my knowledge because I'm going to steal this from, what's his name? He's on the community. Kevin, not Kevin. Um, he just did the whole another drone community for business.
Oh, Cody? No.
Cody Rutledge. Yeah, Cody.
Okay, Cody. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He said and his big thing is collaboration over competition. And anytime I can help, I always do. And
Yeah.
that's how Al and I got together. He's been working with me for since that dinner, pretty much. So yeah,
Is that where you guys met?
at the dinner, yeah. So
Okay, sweet. That's awesome.
that's how it all started. And he's been
Awesome.
following me around, and he's helped my business. I've helped his business. In fact, I just wrote him. Well, I won't tell you how much the check was, but it's kind of painful for me. But I had my best month ever last month, and I had to give a bunch of it to him because he helped out. So it's he's happy, I'm happy, everybody's happy. So collaboration over competition, man. Why not? Everybody makes money.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, I see Brian Costner here, so I'm gonna add him to the screen. I'll let him introduce himself, but then we'll go back to you, Mike, for asking you some questions and tips and advice here. So, all right, Brian,
Hey,
what's
Brian.
going on, man? I think you're muted. Hold on. I don't know if I can unmute you or you can unmute you.
No, I just muted myself because
Okay.
I didn't want.
Oh, hold on. I think you froze up.
So yeah, I'm Brian, owner of South Bay Drone Services, and I'm here to help. Happy to help. Like Michael was saying, I want to get back to the community. So yeah.
So, real quick, give us a little 30-second spiel about your business and what you're working on.
South Bay Drone Services, I mainly do 3 different kinds of clients. I do 3D modeling for architects. I do progress stuff like progress videos and mapping for commercial construction. And I do work for consumer attorneys that are basically documenting get to or see locations where accidents happen.
Okay, awesome. And then, Mike, you didn't actually say what you do for your business, so you want to give a little intro on that?
Oh, sorry.
Well, I didn't ask you. I went straight into just dinner in Denver, but you go
Well,
ahead.
I'll blame you for the
please.
faux pas there. I run Wet Dog Drone Services, and I focus pretty much in the construction market. I mean, I do progress, I do inspections, just getting into the modeling side because I haven't had too many clients ask for it. They're real happy with the orthos that I provide. Yeah, and I'm doing some interior work now, both with a drone and a 360 camera. And that's part of that amazing month that I had last month. So yeah, I'm crushing it, and I'm happy, and it's amazing. I'm just In fact, I just picked up a check today, and it's like, yeah, I just smile all the way to the bank. So I love it. I
Do
love
you
it.
guys,
So
do you guys mind sharing like, and you don't have to give like super specifics, but what's like a range of maybe a good month for you, and then maybe like an average or a bad month for you, kind of in your drone business?
for me, I would say between 3 and 5 would be a good month. Would be an average month.
Okay.
Last month was just a tick under 7 grand that I build. That I build. Okay, that's the important part. I build almost 7 grand. Now I
Nice.
gave a fair share of that to Al because he did an amazing job for me because I couldn't get out away from my other job to go for a construction company to go do these jobs that the construction company needed me to do. So I called Al and says, "Hey, I got 3 jobs for you. Can you get to them?" Yep, he did. He shot the jobs. He got paid. So it's yeah.
So you're doing your job on the side of your full-time construction job, right? Or where does that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing it anywhere from 75 to 80 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Cool.
ADHD helps. I mean, it's actually, yeah, I joke with Al that that's my superpower because I am
Yes.
able to hyper focus and yeah, so keep things afloat.
Cool. So for a side hustle, which you're kind of like, it's almost like a double hustle, I call it. Like you're working hard on it. It's not so,
Yeah,
but
I am.
it's another 3 to 7, at least in revenue, right? You're sharing that with Alex and stuff
Right.
like that. Busy stuff, but cool. And then Brian, I don't know how much, give whatever detail you're comfortable sharing, but like just to give people a range of, what, not what to expect, but like, to give some context.
Well, I would say mine is a similar answer to Michael. I would say the 3 to 5 range would probably be the most, and I would say 0 would be the tough months. And it's been really slow. It's been really slow for me lately. I have not worked in weeks. I did some real estate jobs, which I tend to not want to do anymore. But it's work. So, and they called me and it's clients that I've had for a while. So I did them, but no, it's been very slow.
Okay.
I've actually only did 1 job actually this month. But I know that next month it's going to be bonkers again, just because what I do is cyclic, and we'll get to a different point in the job, and I'll have 4 or 5 job sites reach out. Hey, can you get here and do this? Can you get here and do this? Because we're at a different part in the timeline on that job. And yeah, right now I'm in a lull. Next week, next week, it's going to start getting real busy again. So it's crazy. I can't complain. I cannot complain.
Yeah. Michael can absolutely verify this. When you get a commercial construction job, you're looking at work for a minimum of a year, probably a year and a half. If you get in at the stage where they're just starting the dirt work stuff. So, and those are very consistent but when that gets completed, those people move on to the next gig. And so I had a great run for a year and a half, 2 years, where I was just getting constant work, but then those guys moved on to new jobs, and those guys in particular just haven't moved on to big projects. They've been assigned smaller things or littler things that they just don't need a drone for. So it's like you have these great connections and you're getting all this work, and then if they don't have work to give you, they don't have work to give you. So it doesn't matter how great a job and how wonderful you did all that great work. If they don't have work to give you, they don't have work to give you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's dive in first with Mike to get some, we'll ask you questions, get your thoughts. And then, Brian, if you have context to add, you can feel free to do that. And then we'll go flip over to you, Brian, dive into your business a little bit more and kind of get some advice from you. So
absolutely.
All right, Dusty, I'll let you MC.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. So Michael,
is this going to be like the presidential debate that's starting here shortly?
it is. We're going to get everybody
two
ready
moderators, and yeah, okay, great,
yeah,
great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, Michael, one of the cool things about just really with your construction background, and, I know that you were always been into drones and everything, but you really do one of the things about you is that you see the need for that. Whereas like somebody that's a drone pilot, we know what we can do with this. We're going to go do the mapping and the modeling, but what are some of the things that you can maybe talk about from your construction background and experience, for people that are maybe looking to get into construction work, kind of maybe like what's like the initial starting point for that, and what are some of the things you need to know? And
So my initial cheat code for this is I worked for a construction company, and I tilted that windmill for 3.5 years before I started actually getting traction to do this. I did a lot of stuff that was at no charge. But now I've got both hands firmly implanted in my day job's pockets. I'm getting a weekly paycheck from them, and I'm getting multiple checks during the month from them also. So I mean, the only paycheck that goes into and it's not even a paycheck because he pays cash, which is always nice. Is the guy that I count. It's the guy that I count buffalo for, and that's a once a month, once every other month. It's just like Jerry will call me and say, "Hey, can you come count my buffalo?" It's like, "Sure, Jerry, where they at?" I don't know. So that's why it's like, okay.
So, do you go do you do mapping and you count them?
So that's what I do. I'll fly a map. First, I've got to locate the herd, because at one point Jerry's family owned 22 contiguous miles along Route 36 here in Colorado on both sides of the road. I don't know how far back it went, but they were full sections. So a section is a mile by a mile. So Jerry's family owned a lot of land. It's since been broken up amongst the family, but I know about where they were last time I did it. So that's generally where I start my search at. I just put the drone up at 400 feet. It's like, oh, there they are over there. And then I drive in or open some gates or whatever to get to them. And I just fly a quick map. And then I could use AI. Drone Deploy has the AI that'll count it for me, but it's just as easy for me to sit there and count them. So I don't want to.
Mhm.
I don't like giving anybody else my money. So if I can do it in house.
How many buffalo are there?
Oh, right now there's 238.
You count them by hand?
Yeah, it doesn't take long. I mean,
I guess that's true.
yeah. So anyway, no,
Sorry, I
the
didn't mean
cheat
to keep
code.
going on the construction, but I was just really curious about the buffalo.
See, it's that tangent thing, But on with my tangents, they usually tie into the current conversation. I won't say that's how I got started, but that kind of kept me afloat for a little bit. But yeah, I had the job inside the company, and my safety guy flew a drone. He had a P4P V2, and it's like, okay, we have a drone that we're not using to its full potential. He did most of the marketing stuff and the frou-frou stuff, and I kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. And then we got a new engineer in the company, and he came from a survey background where every truck had a drone in it. And he and I started talking, and it's like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I went to management. I did the whole presentation. Yeah, not now. Okay, so I went and I talked to our head of our CTO, I guess he is, and we had a good conversation. And as I was leaving, I said, "Look, Josh, either we're going to do this as a company, or I'm going to dip into savings and I'm going to buy the equipment." He says, "Well, you do what you need to do." Well, $7,000 later, I've got a drone and all the stuff I need to do that job. And about 2 weeks after I purchased everything, Josh calls and says, "Hey, can you go fly a site for me?" I said, "Yep, sure can. Who do I bill it to?" He says, "Bill it to me." I said, "Awesome." And here we are. And that just kind of snowballed along. And, we've got jobs north in Severance, which is just east of Fort Collins. We've got jobs south of Colorado Springs. I'm out on the plains of Colorado. My office is 64 miles from where I'm sitting. So my area that I cover for the company is south of Colorado Springs, east of Rocky Ford, north Severance, and then west Idaho Springs. So I have a huge area that I cover because we've got job sites throughout the state. So I stay busy. I mean, I stay busy whether it's flying after work or taking a quick lunch, rocking out a mapping mission, then bringing it home and then processing it. Because, part of my job, I mean, the part that I love the most, the flying, takes up the least amount of time. I could fly a site that I've previously been to, shot all my points, fly that, set that mapping mission up. It's up in the air for less than 20 minutes. I'm back in my truck, lunch is over, and I'm on to the next thing. So, like I said, I am in a unique situation, and it just really works for me. And like I said, I couldn't be happier
Yeah.
with what I'm doing. So, is that too
Yeah.
much information?
No, that was good.
Not enough.
And I'll say so. Michael, he's done a good job of really getting plugged into the community and helping the community out. But both Brian and Michael are guys that like to continuously never stop learning. And Michael, you just bought a Trimble system. You're always trying to figure out ways to really enhance your offerings and the deliverables that you give. And I see a bunch of questions coming up about equipment, and without getting too deep into that, do you mind to talk a little bit about the equipment that you use, why you use it?
So my main, I've got 2 drones that I fly. I'm about to pick up a third one. I fly the Mavic 3 Enterprise with the RTK unit. In that kit, I just sold my Trimble unit to that guy sitting next to you, and I bought an Emlid. I bought an Emlid RS3, which was probably about 5 times the price of that Trimble unit, but I was in a position where I could afford it, and it does a better job for what I need it to do. I'm not limited to, well, I kind of sort of am until I get a second one, but it allows me to produce better data. There's a lot of software that's involved on the back end that is free with the Emlid, and with the other systems that are out there, I've got to pay for that. And my wife will tell you, I say that I'm cheap. She says, no, you're thrifty. If I can squeeze a nickel and get a dime out of it, I try. I mean, the word that I honestly use is I'm a cheap bastard. My dad said growing up that we're too poor to buy cheap crap. And that's not what he said, but it's paraphrased. And I never understood that until I got older. So now, for me to spend on just the drone alone, what is it, like $3,900 for that drone now with the RTK unit and everything all included? I know that I've made my money back a lot X. But it was a good purchase because it allowed me to do, because I started with an Air 2, not even an Air 2S. I started with an Air 2 and then moved into the Air 2S, and now I'm flying the M3E. And I started with the DA2, which is the most cost-effective way to get into shooting your own ground control points on a job site. It's $450 now, I think it is. You can find them used for $350. So I purchased that, and I have a funky way that I bill. I bill by the hour. I bill my drone by the hour. I bill by the battery, the flight time of the drone. I charge a pilot rental. I charge an equipment rental for my Emlid. Everything is line itemed out, so the client knows what they're paying, and I believe, but by doing that, I make more money as opposed to when I started out, I was doing package deals. Now I break everything out line by line so the client can see what they're paying for. And I've got a real good reception with that. And I've been able to incrementally increase my prices because of that.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of helps see what goes into it rather than just like, why is it so expensive? It's like, hey, I got this piece of equipment, my time,
Well, it's like one of the things that I do is I provide a trailer map. And by a trailer map, so what I'm talking about on Drone Launch Connect, you'll see a post that says dog for scale, not sale, Dusty. I'm talking to you. There's a poster laying on my kitchen floor with my dog sitting right next to it, so you can see the actual scale of the poster. It's a 3x5 poster. And everybody said, I thought that said dog for sale. It's like, no, dog for scale. People,
that's not what this community is for, man.
Look, I've got a service dog, okay? And she was just sitting there. She doesn't look abused. Anyway, so I do these 3x5 posters that are they're not orthorectified. So the measurements are, in the drone space, what Brian and I do, we deal with relative accuracy and absolute accuracy. So the measurements on the map are relative accurate to that map. So that's a whole nother discussion, a really deep rabbit hole to go to. But so you got this big poster that we put on the wall. So this morning, I just processed one out. I'm billing the guy, and I'm getting ready to get the photo to send off to my printer. And it's like I really need to find someplace cheaper because I'm using a local guy. He does a great job, and I appreciate that. But I'm making less than $50 on that poster. I'm charging $275 for it, and I'm making less than $50. There's time that goes into that, and my time is valuable. It's what do you have more of, time or money? Well, I have time, but I want to be paid for my time. So I went online and I went down the rabbit hole this morning for about an hour, and I was able to reduce my cost from 240 to 235 down to $90.
Wow.
Now, granted, I'm not going to have it Saturday morning. I got to wait till the day before the 4th of July. I can live with that. I'm okay with that. My client is okay with that. So, yeah. So I didn't change my prices because they've been paying that amount. The company as a whole has been paying that amount for a little while. I'm not going to change my prices. I'm just going to take that extra money, pocket it, put it in my profit account, and call it a day. So, yeah. Anyway, did
No,
I answer the
great.
question? Oh, so yeah, equipment. Mavic 3E, AMOLED RS3, Avata 2. That's a new one that I've introduced into my workflow for flying interiors, flying just crazy job site flights.
What kind of interior stuff are you doing?
Just fly throughs. I mean, you've seen the one take fly through I'm doing on construction sites now. And it was funny. I handed my phone to a guy on one of the job sites this morning. I said, "Hey, have you seen my latest video?" He says, "No." And I said, "Here you go." And I saw him winch or just flinch. It's the Idaho Springs job. I'm flying between two poles that are about 8 feet apart. I got plenty of room, but when you see it from that perspective at that speed, it looks like it's a lot closer. And then I fly under an awning that's actually about 10 feet high, but it doesn't look like it's 10 feet high from that perspective. So, and I got paid for that video. So yeah. And it was actually the first time that I take it to other job sites, but I hadn't put together a video with it yet. I put together a video, sent it to the client. He says, "Yeah, I'll take it." And I billed $488 for that. Yay. For a 30-second.
Very specific.
488. Yeah, that was the math that I came up with for that flight. So, because he's paying a drone rental for the day, that's $165. He's paying a pilot rental for the day, that's $165. Or yeah, the pilot rental is an hour, $165 an hour. The drone rental is $165 for the day, and then my processing time on the back end to put all that together. So it was $488. Didn't even flinch. I posted on Drone Launch Connect. It's like my first commercial video with the Avata. And so it's like, and I got paid.
Love it.
Shocking.
Yeah.
So
And that's just another
shocking.
bullet. Yeah, another.
Yeah, exactly. I am trying to extract this sounds bad, and I'm
No.
not.
Not in
I'm
an
not
unfair way, Strack, but yeah.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to milk my clients for everything they're worth, but I am trying to extract the most money possible from each job. It's like our job in Rocky Ford right now. A little birdie told me that they had over $1 million that they needed to spend in the next 3 months. It's like, I can help with that. I can help with that. Have Jacob call me. I can help with that. I mean, granted, I'm going to extract $1,000 at a time, but still, I'll take your money.
Yeah.
But that
You're
comes
obviously
back.
seeing the benefit in it.
Yeah, I mean, and that comes back to my cheat code that I already worked there.
Yeah.
And I saw the opening because they were already using drones. If they're not already using drones, you run into a little bit more of an obstacle. I mean, I had one client that was unrelated to the company that I worked for, reached out and said, "Hey, can you do this job?" I said, "Sure." I went down to do the job. There was 2 active cranes on the site. And I needed to map the site while there's 2 active cranes. So the point of that statement, I made notes. I'm touching on one of these notes. The point of that was learn how to fly your drone. Don't just be a button pusher. Okay, because you can map it all out on your controller, push that button, the drone takes off, you stand there and watch the drone go back and forth, drone lands, you take it home, pull the SD card, and you're done. Don't be that pilot. There is more to this job than just that. Because when that crane's active and you got to fly a mapping mission, you need to figure out, you need to be in contact with the crane, you need to be able to fly that pattern and deal with the pucker factor involved with that because yeah, yeah, and I will say that was my first time dealing with active cranes.
How high were you? How high did you give yourself
S-
above the crane for buffer room?
I was below the cranes, boss. I
Oh,
was
you
flying.
were? Gosh.
Yes,
Why
that's
did you
when I
fly
say
so low?
active
Were they really
because
high?
I am
Too high?
because so I had the top of the one crane because I flew up to find out what my MOCA was, my minimum obstacle avoidance.
Clearance.
Altitude.
Yeah, there.
Yes, clearance altitude. Thank you.
Yeah.
354 to the top of the crane.
Ooh.
Well, I can't really fly a mapping mission from 354 feet. My normal GSD is a half inch, and I fly that at 122 and a half feet. So I'm
And a
flying
half.
at 100. Yeah, I'm flying at 122 and a half feet. And I've got cranes moving because I've got one that's working in this area and I've got another one that's working in this area.
Oof.
So this
Yeah.
crane's going this way. And I'm trying to, because the job set was an L. Yeah, it was a new and exciting experience for me. Yeah.
So did you fly it manually or did you just design
Yes.
the flight pattern?
No, no. I can't fly that. I can't just turn the drone loose because that crane's moving. And I can't fly a pattern, so I am flying this manually, and I'm pausing because I need to wait for that crane to move. Now, granted, it didn't take. Who did that?
I think it's your hand.
It's your hand.
Oh,
your hand
man.
gesture. It's
Okay.
automatic.
Oh, and I'm not even Italian. Sorry, no offense to anybody that's Italian. It's part of my disorder. Now I'm completely lost.
Sorry, manual flight around the crane.
Oh yeah, so it's not one where I can just set and forget. And this is where I'm getting back to just pushing a button. If you find yourself in that instance, you need to be able to complete the job. Well, the only way I knew to complete the job was to fly it manually. So yeah, I flew it manually, and that was that. So yeah,
Cool.
fun times.
Yeah. Hey, you out there getting it done, making money. It's great.
Well, I had a finite window to get this done. So yeah, in fact, I flew that during in February during the not the drone conference, the geospatial Geo Week conference. I left there one day at like 11:30, went down, figured I'd catch them slow at lunchtime, and flew it at lunchtime. But no, cranes were still moving.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Right,
Cool.
Well, Brian, let's get to you. Why don't you dive in and tell us a little bit about? I think people might be interested to hear how you went from primarily trying to do real estate to then do more mapping type stuff, because we had someone yesterday who started off in mapping and then transitioned and went into all real estate stuff. So maybe give us a little bit of that story. Maybe give us some of your story about your experience out there.
I'm sorry, was that to me or to Michael?
Sorry, to you, Brian.
Sure. So real estate is the lowest hanging fruit job to get. It's the easiest job to get because there's so many agents out there and there's so much real estate on the market that and the danger to the agent is very low if you don't deliver. Like, they're not going to lose everything. So those are the easiest jobs to get. But they're also tend to be the ones that are the most work, and they don't pay very much because real estate agents are very stingy. But it's a good way to get experience. It's how I got started. It's the story that you hear all the time from a lot of drone people, that they start in real estate because it's easy to do. My story was that I started doing.
We lost him. Hold on.
Oh, I'm back.
Yeah.
Well, I think it just got a little choppy on us for some reason, but it might be us. But keep going. I hear you now.
Okay. So I started a company, was just doing real estate, and I would get requests and job offers to do other things. So I would do those other things, and at a certain point, those other things were like just as much as real estate. So I decided to start a second company that was everything that wasn't real estate. And now I closed the real estate company, the one that was just real estate. I don't even actively have that company around anymore.
Okay.
It's all about pivoting, right? You get into this, you figure out. I thought for sure that was who I was going to be, and turns out no, not so much. I'm going to be this other guy. And I'm actually in this very moment. If you want to talk about it, we can. I'm actually pivoting again to another more specific group of people. But anyway, as the company that does the everything else, which is really what I do mainly right now.
Sorry, it broke up just briefly. Say that last part again.
Sure. I said, so South Bay Drone Services is the company, the second company, and that's really what I do now. And I'm about to open a third. Well, I'm actually already opened a third company, which we can talk about if you want to.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Is that about like targeting or
the lawyers?
Lawyers. Okay. Are you opening a separate company for that? Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, I thought long and hard about it, and the main advantage to having a separate company is I can have separate pricing. So I can charge the lawyers a lot more money than I can charge the construction or the architects. And I don't have to worry about them seeing the other pricing and saying, well, how come, you're charging this guy so much less than me? And then it allows me to be a lot more targeted. Am I still with you guys?
Sorry, it broke up just a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, it might be me.
Anyway.
So the new company is called Exhibit Drone, and it is targeted strictly at consumer attorneys. And I think that's the next hot wave of business for me, for sure, and potentially other drone operators. Because I don't know anybody who's actively marketing to these people. I don't know if you've heard of anybody, but I haven't.
No, you're the main. That's why I was so interested in it when you told me about that when you came on our Drone to 1K podcast and we were talking about it and you went up that. I was like, what? Yeah, it sounded really cool. So let me ask, what is I'm familiar with attorneys, obviously, but what is a consumer attorney specifically? Like, what do they practice? What do they focus on?
So it's a new word, euphemism for a personal injury attorney.
Okay.
And it encompasses more than just work law, employment law, stuff like that. But I'm focusing really on personal injury. You can think of a personal injury attorneys. That's the group that you're familiar with.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us what. How did you even find that need in the marketplace?
Well, it's not unlike the first company I owned, and then you start getting calls from these other people, and pretty soon you start getting a lot of calls from these other people, and you realize there's such a great business opportunity there that you're like, hey, I need to really focus on this group of people because it's profitable, it's easy to do, I can do it. And as I said, nobody else is doing it that I can tell. So how I went about it, which would be helpful for your audience, is I found a consumer attorney association in my area, and I joined it as an affiliate. They allow affiliate membership, and I would assume almost. And did I cut out?
Yeah, you did for that. But you're saying you joined as a
I can start to tell when my video goes away, I must be cutting out.
You're like, no, you said you joined as an affiliate member, and you're assuming that most people would be allowed to do that. I think.
Yeah. So the affiliate membership gets you access to these events that they put on, and so they have these social mixers that they do, where it's all the attorneys get together, they chat with themselves. I guess they're catching up on friendships because they're so busy and all that. And then there's me and a couple other affiliates who are there working the room, who just, you have to walk up to groups of people chatting about, playing baseball or whatever.
So awkward.
At the key moment, well, it is awkward, but here, I will tell you this, here's your advantage. as soon as they look at you and they say, "Hey, how's it going, Brian?" You actually got a little name tag on, and like, "What do you do?" And I say, "I'm a drone operator," and boom, you've got 30 seconds because they're.
I hear you. We hear you. You're good.
You've got 30 seconds where they are definitely interested in why the heck is a drone operator at a legal mixer.
Yeah.
And that's your 30 seconds to make your little elevator pitch. You know, like, why would you be interested in a drone operator? And I can make my little 30-second pitch. And the best pitch you can make is, well, I can go document a location within 24 hours, and the landowner does not control the airspace. So they cannot, you don't have to get permission to fly over a location. So I'm not talking about like an intersection where anybody can just drive up, take photographs from the curb. I'm talking about large properties where you can't see into wherever this accident happened. And your unique selling proposition is, I can be there tomorrow or today, and I don't have to get the permission from the landowner because the FAA controls the airspace. And that is always really intriguing to them, because they're like, oh, yeah, because sometimes they have to fight with the landowner because they're suing them for weeks or months to get access to the property. And you're saying, I can be there tomorrow and I can document the conditions as they are right now, and not a month from now when they can clean it up and move things around or whatever they're going to do.
Yeah. Change the condition. Someone
Change the
had
condition.
a quick little question here. With those airspace laws vary state to state.
No, the FAA
nationwide.
Yeah, the FAA controls the airspace. I
The
mean,
only thing
think
I
about it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
If a helicopter flies over a residence, it doesn't have to call each person and ask, "Oh, can I fly my helicopter over you as I'm flying?" No.
Yeah, there might be some, like, if you're flying 30 feet off the ground, zooming into their window, there might be some privacy laws.
Exactly. But see, then you would be in that case, you would actually be breaking the law. So yes, you are not covered under you can peer into people's windows, but that's not what you're there for. And I've actually had the police called by the police, and then the police then go over to the landowner and they say, "Hey, sorry, he's got permission to be here. He should be done," he says, "in the next 45 minutes.
As soon as his 12 batteries run out, he'll be out of your hair.
So
that's really
anyway,
cool.
so I joined the affiliate, and actually the big thing that I'm prepping for right now is they hold their annual conference at the end of August. And so I bought booth space. I've had banners made. I've got a spin the wheel thing that I'm going to modify.
Nice.
I'm going all out. I got, my business card. I have to get I'm in the process of getting the DBA so that I can take checks. And so I'm starting all over again. It's like everything all over again. That when you start any company, I have to do all that stuff again.
But you're
in preparation.
I think I just want to go back to something that you said before that I thought was really a wise business owner move. Is you're not just going, all right, well, this is how you started a business, and I guess I'll just work this. Like, every day you're going, all right, well, what am I seeing here? How can I adjust? How do I respond? Oh, it seems like there's this kind of customer that has this kind of problem. Let me look at that a little bit more. Everybody has this kind of, like, that's how you find these little gold mines. Everybody else wants just the answer to, like, well, somebody just tell me what to do. Oh, there's 1,000 customers knocking at my door for this one thing. It's like, you got to just get in there, experiment. What's in your area? What kind of people are around you? Can I learn about their problems? And then you just kind of go, like, little step by step, seeing what pockets are there, and then little pieces of opportunity open up, or a relationship connects you somewhere else. I think people just don't realize how much it's just, you take one step, then you can see the next opportunity, and you take another one that you can kind of see from there. But you can't necessarily map it out the whole way from the very beginning.
No, and I'm sure Michael would tell. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was. He started talking, so I stopped. But no, it's just because you have your 107 doesn't mean there's going to be people beating at your door. The drone is a tool. Okay, it's just a tool that I have in my toolbox that allows me to solve problems for people that have a particular need. You have to find out what that need is. I mean, is it a grumpy superintendent sitting in a trailer that doesn't want to talk to you? Well, let's go talk to the project manager, because he's younger. He's got more technology savvy, if you will. So let's talk to him instead. They will tell you what their problem is. They will tell you why they lost $80,000 on the last job. It's like, oh, well, if you did this, this, and this with my drone, then we could have bought that and only had to pay half. And that's an actual story from an actual job site. It's just you find problems that you can solve with the tools that you have. Just because you have a hammer does not mean that everything is a nail. Okay, so you've got to find the problems that you can help fix with your particular tool. That's all.
I would say that the advice I give, David, whenever people ask me that question is you've got to get so that when that opportunity is going to happen, that you are ready for it. So I'm sure you tell people the same thing. Set up your Google My Business page. You got to do that. You got to have a website. Put stuff on the website, stuff you want to do. If you went to my website right now, you would see a continuous video running that shows construction, 3D modeling, and a little bit of lawyer stuff because it's not that exciting. The construction's exciting video. But so when somebody goes to my website, boom, they're thinking, oh, this guy can shoot quality stuff. Oh, look, he's doing commercial construction and we're a commercial construction company. So that lead that's out there that you don't know that exists, that happens to do a Google search and come across your company and they click on your website or they go to your Google My Business page, you want them to go, that seems like a guy I need to call. So you got to do all this prep, all this hard work, set it up, and then yes. So yeah, I'm sure Michael and I can tell you tons of stories, thousands of dollars a month for the next year and a half, right? That happens. But how does that happen? That happens because I did all this work on the front end that makes it so that when they doing that search and trying to figure out who to hire, I look like the kind of guy that they should talk to.
Mm-hmm. I was just trying to respond to a few comments. One comment was people were saying, certain states have laws about, even if it's private property, you can't fly over it. And I was just trying to add a comment that it's been pretty well established and litigated that federal preemption. So like the federal laws take status or preemption over state laws. So a state can say, hey, you can't fly over land, but they can't enforce a law where the federal government has jurisdiction. So the only thing they can control is where you can take off and land from and stand when you fly your drone. They can't control where your drone is in the air. So they can.
And in those instances, I'm always standing on public land and I'm taking off from like a sidewalk or something. I'm very
Yeah. And then it does matter what country you're in. I think Brad said different countries vary. Yes, that would be different. This is the United States we're talking about. So pretty cool. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about, we got a couple things to cover here too, because we had a video contest going on in the community and the Drone Launch Connect community. We happened to have a tie with who was the video winners. Video 4 and video 7 are tie. So Audrey created a poll for us to let. So we need your help actually a little bit. Everybody who's on here, all 141 of you or whatever. So I'm going to look at these videos real quick and show you 2 videos. And I'm going to send you a link to vote on which one you all like. And who you determine the winner is going to get a DJI Mini 3. So it kind of matters here. So I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. If you guys are ready to watch, maybe while I'm doing that, you guys can discuss. People seem to be arguing about the Texas Privacy Act. I don't know what that is, but either way. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen. Drone Launch Connect. Share. I'm gonna have to go. I can just find them in the home screen, but where are they? Are they here? Content. Okay, here we go. All right. Hopefully you all can see my screen. Okay. So the first video was this one. It's between video 7 and video 4. And they should be pretty short. So here's video 7. Hold on. It's coming up. This is the best we can do is a screen share. So here we go. It's 15 seconds. Get ready, go.
Lighting is really good.
That sound design. All right,
That's good.
that is video 7. And here is video 4. I got to reshare my screen here. Video 4. Try to get it bigger here. Beautiful.
An ad.
So wait, don't vote in the comments. I'm going to send you a link because I need to count them up. So I'm going to send you a link to a 1 question type form. It's right here. Click on this link, and it's going to say video 4 or video 7. Wait, there we go. It's going to say video 4 or video 7. So 4 was like the farmland one. 7 was Mexico. All right. Vote on it. We'll come back at the end and we'll pull up the results, and that will be the winner of the Mini 3 Pro drone.
Sorry, we couldn't get that done for you.
That's get what done? The tie? You're talking about getting it tied?
Yeah. I'm sorry that we couldn't just come to a consensus on that. So
Yeah, this is a little bit more fun. This is a little more fun.
yeah.
I wanted to show something too. So one of the things that I really like about the community that, again, Brian and Mike are really good at is when somebody has a question, hey, I don't know what to do about this, or hey, I've got this job, what do you think? Or giving feedback on a video or whatever it is. People are very good about contributing and helping in a constructive way. So one of the things we wanted to do this contest for is to feature like, hey, if you have a video you want feedback on or a project you need help with, people can help you with it and share your comments. So there was 10 videos that were posted in here, and everybody went through and left different feedback. My only suggestion, this is Kevin. He's a successful dude, giving some feedback, what they liked, what they didn't like, or hopefully in a nice way, what they thought could be improved. See, a little long for a single shot. Maybe add some other clips that would give you an idea of where it's supposed to be, like the boat's stern. Yeah. So there were comments on every video. I'm not going to go through all of them, but this way, if you have a project and you have questions on it, it's just a way where you can actually figure out, oh, no, maybe here's what I can do better, or hey, what do you guys think about this editing? Or a lot of times we ask pricing questions. Hey, what do you think I could charge for this? So this is really helpful if you're. What's up?
That is probably one of the biggest questions that come across on the community is what do I charge or how do I charge? So
yeah, and I wanted to show this. So we have. I'm gonna talk in a second. The community's open right now until tomorrow night, and then we're closing it. We're doing it's closed for the quarter, so we're doing onboarding of one big group. And it's like $87 for the 3 months to join it, or you can do like pay for 10 months and get the year. But one thing I was going to show you guys, there's a lot of things in the community. So number one, you just have all the other members you can chat with, get advice from. Dusty is the community manager, and every other week he brings on some type of expert into the community, and you are able to get on the Zoom call, ask them questions, be face-to-face with them. And so that's one way you can get some additional training, additional expertise in what you're trying to do. But then beyond that, I think one of the biggest benefits that I didn't realize was going to happen when we started this, just all the different friendships and connections people make through other events. Dusty, you want to talk about stuff like the happy hours and the business discussions and stuff like that?
So, yeah, I mean, one of the things the forums are really nice. The discussion forums, because you get in, there's a lot of activity in there, and you can ask your specific questions, and you're going to get a lot of feedback. But we also host, outside of what David mentioned earlier with the live expert Q&As, usually 5 to 6 other events each month that are focused on things like business discussion, where you can come in and just talk about either you're just now getting started and ask questions about LLC, how everybody else has their business startup, or how are you approaching new business, pricing, anything that's related to that. We have discussions on, FPV, business discussions, any sort of new pilot questions. We do happy hours, but And I can tell you that's really at those events when you get in and you can start to ask these questions, and we're doing like we're doing right now. We're just doing it face to face over Zoom. That's where really a lot of the relationships, but a lot of the good information comes out. And just being able to bounce ideas and experiences off of each other really helps you kind of figure out what might work in your area. And, what I've learned with this is like what works for Brian or some of these guys might not work exactly where I'm at. But a lot of times you can kind of get ideas or kind of get a good sense of understanding of this. And both of these guys, they're in the community, they're plugged in. So if you really wanted to ask some questions about kind of what Brian had going on with the attorneys, you just message Brian or hop onto a live event and just let's talk with Brian. And Michael, we've also got over 20 workshops, I believe, just real concise, short workshops at the library. And Michael's got a workshop in there that is on shooting construction progression.
So I see some questions in there. We'll answer those in just a sec, but I'll show you so if you go to courses, right, these are all different workshops that are just in the community. Now you can buy these separately if you want. They're anywhere from $50 to $100 a piece. But I think there's like 20 of them in here. Close to 20. So I think there's about like $1,500 worth of workshops in here. And let's see where, so this is Michael's one that he created right here. And we're always trying to add more, getting new members to add more, or, different topics that you guys want to cover. So you can go through here and look and watch Michael talk about processing and analyzing data in his
Severance AI, Rama into the skills,
walk you through his entire
enabled digital training.
And so again, it's members helping other members.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of those, but in addition to that, like Dusty was saying, let's say you had a question about pricing. So we've already had like, what was it?
We've had 39 past Q&As.
Yeah, like 39 past Q&As. So that's a lot of, they're going to be like an hour or two long. You're not going to skip through 30, 40 hours of stuff. We got this little guy here. You can click this. Well, normally
It's not working.
I don't know. Refresh that one.
It might be.
Is that because I'm sharing my screen?
Yeah, that might be what it is.
Hold on. Let me try it again. There we go. Let me do that first and then share my screen. All right. So if you click that little button on the side, this pops up. And let's say I had a question about pricing. I could just type in pricing here. And it literally says every single past thing we've done. And it says there's 103 results on pricing. You can see what it was. And if you click, so here's one from Gary Scott. This is the price, or you see my price list. Can anybody see my price list? So I'm like, oh, cool. It's showing us price list. Let me click here. And it goes straight to that part of the Q&A where he was, or of the,
Honestly,
to see exactly
kind of surprised it worked as good as it did.
where he was talking about that. And you can do that. Like, let's say you wanted to look at construction. I could type in construction. I don't even know if anything's going to come up. I hope it does. Yeah, there you go. So Alex Castillo talked about doing construction jobs. Thomas Wazinski. So we had a bunch of people in here. So you can look through and just read really quickly. Oh, does this look like it applies to me? So yeah, construction for me is the moneymaker, Alex says. Oh, I want to see what he has to say about that. I can go right here and it puts you right in.
It kept me going. So
that interview where he's talking about that. So it allows you to get to the information that you're looking for really quickly without having to like hunt around a lot. So you can do that, but you can also just post a question in the community and ask people for fresh stuff. You can search the whole community for past comments here. But I was gonna say, one of the things that I think is the coolest that I didn't expect would be like all the actual friendships and in real life stuff that happens too. So we had an event where we all come to Florida and a bunch of people get together. If you're in the community, you can come to it for no extra charge other than just your $87 you pay a quarter for the community. And we get in-person stuff. So Brian was there last year and he helped teach a mapping workshop. He got his Mavic 3 Enterprise out and he went out and helped map out an overpass and walked people through his workflow. Mike wasn't there. I'm hoping he's going to come next year. But anyways, so it was just a lot of in real life fun stuff to do, and people link up and they talk all the time and share jobs with each other. And it's just starting a business can be lonely. This is just a really nice place to not have to be lonely. Were you gonna say, Mike? Sorry, I think I cut you off on accident.
No, we're good.
Okay. So anyways, if you want to do that, I'm just going to toss, I think it's right here. Oh yeah. We made a shortcut. It's dlcjoin.com. If you want to get in it, just type that into your URL thing and it'll take you to where you can check out. And I'm going to answer some questions in the meantime. And then we can do more Q&A with Brian and Mike here. So I had a question about current. Um, if you're already part of the drone community, will remain? Yeah. If you're already in there, it's the same thing. We're closing it to new members, so not like anybody can join at any time. Just because we found it hard for people to, let's say, if you just popped in randomly, you found the community and then you just joined, you kind of just have to then introduce yourself and then start taking advantage of things. Where we wanted to make it a little bit more group oriented, so we want to have everyone join like at the same time and do an onboarding together, because we're going to get different experienced members from the community to like buddy up with new members. So that way, when you join, you're joining with like a class almost, and you know other people that are joining with you. And we do scheduled onboarding things together, and you have someone assigned to you to like talk to you and reach out to you and answer your questions. And this helps us organize the experience for everyone a lot more. So we're just going to switch to doing it quarterly. We'll keep it closed, and then every quarter we'll do one big onboarding class of whoever wants to get in during that time. So that's open until Friday, but it's the same price. I think you're probably paying monthly at $29. So 29 times 3 is 87. So it's just the same thing. It's just one quarter at a time. And then the next question was, are the resources available to members identical for the quarter and annual? Yeah, they're identical. It's just if you go annual, it's 2 months cheaper. So it's like $290. 87 times 12 is nope. 87 times 4. I was like, that seems way too expensive. 87 times
I'm getting
4.
a deal.
Yeah.
I'm getting a hell of a deal then.
4 is what? 348. So you're saving like $50. It's about 50, $60. It's like 2 months free if you go annual. All right. And then another one. Let's see. After paying industry for a quarterly, is it possible to then pay the annual rate after? Yeah. Yeah, you can do that whenever you want. And is the fee prorated? I'm not sure.
So like the way that, so, you know, it wouldn't be prorated. So if you joined and said that either you did the quarterly, you've paid up to a quarter. Like if the only way it's prorated is like if you wanted to cancel, you could cancel, but you know, it allows you to but I don't think it
like if you went a month in and then you're like, hey, I actually want to do annual, we would just give you a refund for the two rest of the months. You know what I mean? We would just figure something like that out. All right. Do you guys have any questions for Brian and Mike here? Is this a Discord group? No, it's called Circle is the community. So it's basically what I was showing you earlier, and I can get in there too, but there's a whole chat discussion. And we break it out by topic. So there's business discussion, mapping, modeling, inspection. There's real estate, cinematography. One of my favorite channels is Share Your Fails of people who are wrecking their drones or getting themselves in a bad situation. Mike actually just showed how he shredded a bunch of tires the other day.
Yeah, well, that had nothing to do with the drone. But what I find really interesting is that I posted a video in the FPV section last a week and a half ago, maybe. And there's been a few comments, but nobody said anything about the crash at the very end. I thought that was it's not that one.
Oh,
That's okay.
Is it this one?
Well, actually, it is that one. It was the one above that. Yeah, it's that one there.
Post for some reason.
I don't think nobody. I don't think anybody said anything about the crash. But going forward,
yeah,
there it is. There it is. But so I've got another video, a compilation basically of all the work that I did in 2023, all the sites that I flew, and during one of the flights, my drone, I'm doing an orbit, and my drone came to an abrupt stop. So I didn't hit anything. It just stopped in midair. I mean, this is the M3E. I don't know what happened. But now, if I'm doing a video, that's going to be the ending if it's the M3E. It's just that sudden stop where the screen jerks, and then my logo comes up. So, and now if I'm doing an FPV video, it's going to be that little 2-second crash video because it just works for me. But anyway, questions?
You crashed on purpose, right?
No, I was flying the Avata 2, and I was coming in low to come around this tree, and I cut the turn too fast, and I got on the throttle too quick, and I got stuck on my own prop wash, and I went down. So, but I turtled out of it. And here's a quick tip for those of you that have an Avata 2. When you crash and you turtle out, it resets your home point to where you are when you turtled. So if you're like I was with a
Turtle.
very,
Upside
it's
down.
when it
Reverse.
yeah. Yeah, it allows you to right your drone without doing the walk of shame. But when you turtle back over, if you have a low battery, that is now your home point. So you better be able to get back to where you started, or your drone's going to go back to where you crashed, and you still got to do the walk of shame. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind.
All right. Somebody asked for the voting form again, so I'm just going to send it here. Carrie was asking about that. Carrie, he was also at Drone Launch Live in Florida. It's good to see you on here, Carrie. Me and Dusty read this fail one earlier. I thought it was really funny. Someone said they were taking photos, signal lost. They tried to find it, walking around the neighborhood, looking at the map. After about 10 minutes, they came up thinking it had crashed. They got back and it was hovering over the landing pad.
That's a good one.
That's awesome.
These are some I love looking through some of these. So, anyways, but yeah, that's the community. We'd love to have you join if you want to get in for this round. We got some fun stuff coming up this quarter. Dusty's actually going to be taking us through an FPV build. So I've never built, and I really haven't flown much FPV. So I'm excited for him to walk us through that. We're going to get on Zoom and build drones together. So that's like an activity that we'll be doing if you want to join with that. He has other live events or like guests lined up. We'll do the happy hours and, we'll be adding some more things to the community here this quarter. So we'd love to have you join us. All right. I think someone asked another question, intellectual property rights. Does anybody have any experience buying drones from Alibaba? I don't think so. Not me.
I get mine from
Temu, yeah. Do either of you guys do utility pole inspections?
No,
I bid out a job to do one, and it was like inspecting like 150 of them. And I had to sit down and really figure out how the heck am I going to estimate this job? I spent a lot of time estimating it and then never got the job. So I don't know.
Were you like $40 a pole or something?
I think it's been a while since I estimated that. If I recall.
Right before you said the price, you cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I don't remember, but I do think I did a per pole charge. I played around with different ways of bidding it out that didn't seem crazy price wise, like that I was comfortable with the price. But I hadn't actually done
sometimes.
that.
So if you're on, I think I know he's on LinkedIn, and I don't know where else. I think he might be on YouTube also. Kyle New does a couple videos with utility pole inspections. He's kind of big in that space.
We'll get him on for expert Q&A.
He's not. Yeah, Kyle New. He's a great guy. I'll send you his LinkedIn profile when we get down here. Make a note of that.
And this is the kind of stuff where it's like, hey, if a member has questions about, hey, do you guys know more about this? If we don't, we'll go. We got a pretty good network of people. All I do half the year is fly around to different conferences and meet people. So there's chances are I know somebody who's doing what you have a question. I just met a guy and he makes his money flying his drone over football practices and football games to give the coaches better data on strategy. And that's literally how he makes his living. So
there's actually a national company that does that, and you can sub for them, work as a subcontractor for them.
I think we may be talking about the same person. Colin?
Possibly. No,
I met him in Denver.
Oh, maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Either way, fly route.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, people make money with drones in all sorts of crazy ways. We meet people all the time, so there's a good chance that, and I know Root's done some utility pole inspections, so maybe we can get him on sometime and talk about it. Or you could even maybe get, oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Florida Power and Light. Matt Harvey, he might want to come on and talk about it. He works for Florida Power and Light doing that. Although sometimes they don't love sharing their inside secrets. So, all right. What other questions do we got on here? Any specific minimum equipment requirements to look for mapping work? How to choose the right drone? Probably like a DJI Spark.
I'll give you my quick response to that. An Air 2S is the cheapest way to get into it if you want to use drone deploy. And I would recommend using drone deploy. I kind of played around with Pix 4D. I didn't like it as much as drone deploy. But if you really want to do this, you got to get a Mavic 3 Enterprise. And I'll tell you why. Because the 3 Enterprise will fly at 30 miles an hour and not stop. The Air 2S is going to slow down every time it takes a picture. And so you're going to be on site 4 times longer with an Air 2S than you would with an Enterprise. And the Enterprise's quality is going to be much better than the Air 2S's, the map. So it's kind of one of those things, like cheap way to get into it with your Air 2S. But as soon as you make enough money and you can afford it, upgrade yourself to a 3E.
I'm answering a few questions.
No, that's
here.
good. We, just to piggyback off what you were saying, we've got a guy in the community that was kind of in that same situation. He picked up, I think he was doing more just kind of photography, videography stuff, and had picked up some mapping work, and it really started to grow pretty quick for him. But he just had the Air 2S, so he did the best with with what he could with what he had, and he bought a bunch of batteries and mobile chargers and was constantly swapping out batteries. But I think he's finally gotten to the point now that he can make life a little bit easier on himself. But it is like you don't always have to have the best stuff, or the best. As long as you can go out there and get it done and do it with what you got, it's nice to be able to get done a lot quicker, and especially if you want to increase your work and stuff, you've got to have it at some point. But for guys just getting in, really trying to get started in it, don't let the technology hold you back.
Yeah, I would say do what you can do, what you can afford to do, but don't be afraid to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You can actually map with the Mini 3 Pro. I believe also the Mini 2. You can make maps with it. That's a cheap entry point. It's going to take a while. No, you can do a waypoint mission through. I know the SDK hasn't been released for the 3, but there is a guy that's figured out how to do that, and I've talked about it in the community a couple different times, to do mapping missions with even the Mavic 3. Any DJI drone that has waypoints, you can do a mapping mission. It's kind of a convoluted way to do it, and you're not going to get the quality you will with a mechanical shutter, but it can be done on the cheap. Is the quality going to be there? No. But if you want to get your feet wet and see if this is something you want to do, there are cheaper ways to do it without going to Temu or Alibaba.
Yeah, don't do that. All right. Well, hey, I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time because, you're volunteering your time to be here, and I appreciate it. And I also have the results for the Mini 3 winner. I just pulled them up. It was much closer. The video that I thought would win is not the winner. So let me share my screen with you. The people have spoken, okay? Look at this. You see it? Video 7 wins.
Ouch.
Wow. 55-45. So congratulations.
Wow. Yeah.
We had about 100.
Those were my top 2.
Yeah. 50 of you voted, so I really appreciate that. But man, so video 7, congratulations on your win.
Yep.
Hey, that was filmed in Pennsylvania, by the way. Yay for that.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. If you're part of the community, if you want to go see all those videos, you can see them. There's a little video competition space there. So, well, me and Dusty have dinner reservations in 15 minutes, which is the real reason I didn't want to take up more of your precious time, because we also have to leave, and I'm getting text messages from our team. So I do appreciate your time, and you guys are the best.
Yeah, by the way, I was shocked that you two are in the same room. Like,
I wasn't.
We didn't tell you. So I'm in Colorado right now. I was here for a conference, but our team has been doing like quarterly meetups since we're all remote. So we all fly to the same place at the end of every quarter and do review the last quarter, plan for the next 3 months. We split up, we work, and then we come back again in 3 months. So it seemed to be working good. So yeah, we all leave tomorrow, but tonight was we're like, well, we could do it on Thursday. We'll be there anyways. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't leave tomorrow. Cool. I'm still here.
Yeah. All right. But hopefully I'll see some of y'all soon. Yeah. But hey, Brian, if I don't talk to you beforehand, good luck at that conference that you're going to be going to with the lawyers. Keep us posted.
Yeah, post if you don't mind. Make sure to share in the community kind of how that goes.
Yeah,
I'm very
sure. End of August 29th. 3 days.
You got it.
That'd be good.
All right, man. Hey, you know what else? I don't know if you can get away with this. I was at a conference like for like teachers and principals and stuff because we're doing a little bit with education, like high school curriculum. And, you know, we had some people kind of coming by the booth that were interested. But then I realized when everybody's in the room, I got a little tiny drone, like a little Holy Stone $30 one. It was like this big. You have one of those?
I got right here.
Okay. Oh, dude. So mine was even a little bit smaller than that, but it was about like that. I took it and I flew it inside. I just flew it up above the booths and I just started flying in circles and people were like, what's that? And dude, I'm telling you, like,
That's why I got 2 of those for my booth.
yeah.
Great idea.
And nobody was like, hey, you can't fly that in here. I just was kind of, you know, sneaking around with it. And I got people coming up after that. So, you know, send out the little beacon every once in a while, you know, fly around.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. All right, that's it. Appreciate it, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Mike, thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you later. Adios. Thanks everyone for
everybody.
being here.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone.
Yep. Enjoy